So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can create autoresponder sequences in WASBOT. So first things first, you need to go to www.wasbot.app/sequences, and on the dashboard, you'd see this right here, just the sequences tab. If you're on mobile, you'd see the sequences button at the bottom, so you can just click through sequences and then you get over here. Pretty simple. All you have to do is come here and then click on new sequence, and then you want to give it a name. So I'm going to just name this test sequence, and then I'll pick a session for this. That's going to be my WhatsApp number, and then I'll click on create and build. So once you create a new sequence, depending on what device that you are on, you're either going to see this interactive flow builder or a mobile flow builder. So let me see if I can. Yes, so this, if you're on mobile, you see something like this, but if you're on the PC, you'd see something similar to this. So to create a flow is pretty simple. You can set up the trigger first. So the trigger is pretty simple. It's basically what triggers the sequence to come alive. So is it a specific message? Do you want it to trigger to when somebody says a certain keyword? So now for the keyword, you can set something like, or when their message contains dash, or when their message does not contain dash, or when their message starts with dash, when their message ends with dash, and when their message matches a regex or does not match a regex. So for those of you who are a little bit tech savvy and you know your way around regex, then you can set this up, it would work. But if not, then you might as well just stick with contains exactly, starts and ends with, and you'll be good. So for contains, I'll just say something like contains hello, and then you can say anyone who messages, anyone who is a saved contact, and anyone who is an unsaved contact. So you can set this up as you want, but I'm just going to put it at anyone who messages, and then you say re-enroll a contact. So for this, re-enrollment means that do you want a person to be able to join this to trigger this sequence again? So you can set it up after a cooldown or every time they match. For this test, I'm just going to set it up every time they match, but depending on how you want it, you might only want them to be able to enter a sequence one time, or you might want them to be able to enter a sequence after a specific amount of time has passed, depending on you. So once you've done that, just click on save trigger, and then you can set up any message, which means that you don't need a keyword. Any message that you receive is instantly going to trigger this. This is a little bit risky. I would not advise you to do that, but if you do, then that option is there for you, and then you click on save trigger. So once this trigger is added, you can add as many triggers as you want. Oh, something else I forgot to mention, you can add as many contains. So if it is hello, if it is hey, you can add. If it is hi, you can add. If it is good morning, you can add afternoon. You can just add as many messages that you want this to contain, many triggers you want this to contain, and you are good. And you can also set up multiple triggers. So you can say, okay, this trigger, I want this to be a does not contain, But one thing that you need to know is that the two triggers are independent of each other, which means that they do not work together like a condition. Do you understand? So these are individual, which means that if somebody triggers this one, then the second one does not apply. But if a person triggers the second one, then the first one does not apply. Do you understand what I mean? Anyways, now you can create multiple flows, multiple messages flows. So now you have a message area, and then you can type the message that you want, which is going to be a. You can insert the person's first name if it is there, and then this is going to be the person's first name. And if this first name is not set, if the person doesn't have a first name, it's going to say I there or he there, that kind of thing. And you can also add this, which is going to be synonymous to you saying hey, hi, or howdy, which is going to be selected randomly. So these are operators that you can edit to match what you want. Do you understand? So I'm going to be creating a much more detailed videos on how to manipulate this later, but for now you can understand what this is all about. And then you can say welcome to my DM, how can I help you? or you can make this another message. So just say this. You can attach a media, you can quote their first message, or you can decide not to quote anything. By default, it would quote, like the first message to the trigger is going to quote the trigger. So you can set it. So that means that the message is going to quote whatever initial message that the person sends to trigger this message. And then you can come here and click on drag here, another message, come here and click this. So you see this one right here, you now say, welcome to my DM, how can I help you? And then also you can add pictures, videos, voice notes, any type of media to this, and it would automatically attach it to the message that you're trying to send. So for this, I'm just going to attach one single picture here. Let me see, let me add this, and then it's going to upload, and then you're also going to see it displayed over here. So now that you've done this, you have this message, and then you can also set a wait for reply. So the wait for reply is just going to wait until the person sends a message that matches what you are expecting. Do you understand? So let's say the wait for reply, you want to wait for a message that contains money. As long if they send a response that matches money, then you want to go to a later step. We've not set up those steps yet, so we'll do that after. But first of all, let's create as many options as we want. So then we'll add another option, and then we'll say if it contains cars, right? And then we want to also create another option, which is going to be let's just say bunnies. So once we've done all this, you can get out of here and then start creating response options for all of them. So if the person says they are interested in money, you can just say, drag this over here and say, let me teach you how to make some money, right? That's the first one. And for the second one, now let me just drag and click also. We have 3, and then we have this. Then for this one, we drag this over here, and then we say something like shop or car. You can still put in their first name over here too, you know. There's no, what's the word? And then for if they say bunnies, I just say, why not? And then for the last one, if they send a message that does not match any of this, then you can say, hold up, bro. I don't get you. You can say, so this is for a no match, which means that if the message doesn't match what you've set inside of these options right here, and to send this as a reply, right? So you can add a wait. Do you understand? You can add a wait. One another thing, for every step that you had, you have to connect it to a previous step. Do you understand? So if a step is just out there, branched out, no nodes connected, you're going to see this over here that says a step is not connected. You can either connect it or remove it. And if there is a node just out here untethered, you will not be able to publish the sequence. So you have to make sure that all of them are connected to one. And then you can add a wait. I'm just going to unlink this, and I'm going to just drag this trigger to a wait, and I'm going to drag that to this right here, which means that after the trigger, I want to wait for 5 seconds before I send my response. So this is going to wait 5 seconds. You can also duplicate this, and then I can put this over here. I'll put this over here. And then I can drag this here. So basically, you are able to set up a process like this that takes all of these responses on WhatsApp. And then you can just come here and click on test. So all you have to do is send a message that contains any of these triggers. You see those triggers that you set up inside of your DM. So if I send, anything, it's not going to match and it's not going to send a response. But the moment I type in something that matches, hey, the trigger is going to start. So you see the wait 5 seconds, then you see the hi Ada. So the preview that we are running is running as Ada Ademi. So you see it over here. That's why the first name is Ada. And it says, welcome to my DM, how can I help you? And I say, oh, I'm interested in bunnies. And then it says, sure, why not, I got you. So this tells you that the sequence is now complete, and you can run this as many times as you want, and it takes you through the same process. How can I help you? Then you can say, I like cars. It says, okay, sure, what kind of cars are you interested in? And then you can do this and say, oh, so what are you interested in? Interested in money. And then it just says, let me teach you how to make money. And then what if it doesn't match any of this? I like bad. And it says, hello bro, I don't get you. So that's basically how this works. You can, once you've tested this and it works how you like it, you can then come over here and then click on publish. So once you click on publish, it's going to show you the session that this is going to be running on. You see the main line, you see your phone number, and you'd see this which says that reply while in another sequence. So this I would advise you to turn off unless you actually need it to be on. And what it means is that once a person is enrolled in a sequence, can they trigger this sequence also? And ideally, we don't want that. We don't want people to be able to trigger multiple sequences while already in another sequence. So for that reason, you might just want to turn this off. And then all you have to do is just click on publish. And once you publish this, you are good. So all you have to do, you see now it is active. You see that this is the V2, it is saved. And then you can also come here and see the analytics. So when a person messages you and this triggers, you'd see all the people that have enrolled in it, all the people that are active, the people that completed the entire sequence, the people that failed, the amount of contacts. So basically, that's how that works. There's still a lot more to cover that the sequences can do that we'll be adding on to WASBOT as we go on. Like the end, you can use this you can drag this anywhere to end the sequence at that point, so it should not move forward no matter what. And then we are going to be adding much more features that gives this higher functionality. Like you can set this to get the person's name and save the person's contact, add a person to a contact list, a status list, send them a status update. You can customize this moving forward as much as you want. Right now it's a little bit limited, and if you are to edit this on your phone, it basically follows similar process. So you'd see it has the weight, it has the message, you set the message, you insert the steps, you can drag them up, you can bring them up, you can bring this down just as you want. So you can change the placement, you can edit them, you can set the quotes, you can add the wait for reply, and so on and so forth. So basically everything that you can do on the mobile, on the canvas, you can do it on the list version too. So yeah, there's still a lot more to be built for this sequence. So if you have recommendations, do well to let us know, and also stay tuned because we are going to be updating these as time goes on. So yeah, this is just the V1, and then we have a lot more in stock. That's basically how this works. If you have any questions, drop them in the group or in the comments and let us know wherever you might be stuck. Cheers.